All right. This weekend I was poached. I was penetrated. Multiple penetration. Just gonna leave that hanging a little bit. I was the subject of a voodoo witch doctor. That's one way one can say it. I was basically doing a treatment with needles, and these needles, acupuncture, had a very interesting, rich story and function that I didn't really think about before. I've never realized that it was that because I've never really got into acupuncture. So I figured I'm gonna go through two videos. They're about 3 minutes combined, and then I'm gonna talk about what I felt doing this because many people have asked questions about what this was.
Så kan du hilse til triben din.
What's up, tribe? What is oop? Jeg er ikke peiling på hvordan jeg ser ut.
Det har ingenting å si.
Nei, men altså, jeg er veldig spent på å se hvordan jeg ser ut.
Ja, du ser ut som deg sjøl.
Bare for den over. Oh, listen. That's that little sound right there. That's basically the thing that I want to talk most about because there was not a lot of things that happened during this, seemingly. We have one here too. Apparently, I had a blockage in the crown. As he was doing this, I could really feel a lot of warmth, a lot of tingling, a lot of energy. I felt a lot. He also put a few needles in the forehead, so I had needles on the top of my head. I had needles between my eyes. I had needles in my forehead. I had, I have no idea how many needles I had in both my ears. I had one needle in my chest, and I had about 3 needles around my navel. That was a lot of needles, and the thing that I felt the most was my need to keep my eyes closed because every time I tried to open them, it was very heavy. It was hard to keep them open. But I was completely there. I did not sleep. I was just very relaxed, even though when I was being pierced, I guess, I felt a similar sensation as when I was in the North Sea. When I'm doing ice bathing, let's say that you're going into the water in February, so really cold, right? You're hit with a pain that you have to navigate. And for me to kind of explain the feeling that I had as he was putting in needles in my ears, it was very much that. I had to breathe and I had to go into it and try to keep the balance. Because it wasn't, this was not without pain. And I guess what I really noticed is that pain that was a transformative pain. It was like when you feel something and you know it is for a good reason. You know that you're getting somewhere on the other side of the pain, so there is a reason for you to do it. It kind of changes. It's like when you're having a tattoo done, right? You feel the pain and you can almost enjoy it because you know first of all what you're going to get. Second of all, when you really go into the dance of the pain, it can be healing. You can really feel like this is removing weight from your shoulders, or you're getting clarity on something, or emotions are released. Because many people, when this is happening, they might say that they get a feeling of wanting to cry, or they feel dizzy, or they feel something that they didn't before, or all of a sudden your mucus and your snot and all these things, just tears, snot, blood, comes out of you. In a psychedelic experience, it could be puking, it could be shitting, it could be something, getting it out. This was so specific, so on the dot in terms of the meridians, which I'm not going to go into because I don't know what this is to the extent that I feel comfortable talking about it. But there are different energy channels in your body, meridians, chakras, and all these very ancient channels and concepts that has been known for thousands of years. And when you really know how to operate with that, I think that a lot of things are possible that might not have been possible before. He said it best, like this witch doctor. After he had poked my ears and in these very specific points, he said that it creates a map, because these different points simulate or has a reference to a certain function in your body or in your trauma or in your healing or in your experience, in the shadow, in bottle up emotions, whatever you want to label it as. It creates a map based on the blood almost. So let's say that you have 15 different needles in your ear on specific points. And when you drag them out again, or when you put them in, or when you twist them, there are different levels of pain associated to that. And also when you put it out, maybe you're squirting blood for a little bit. Maybe it's pumping. But on the other side, it doesn't. Why? From what he said, this is my mother and the feminine side of my existence, I guess. Things that has been from that hemisphere. This was for my father, or vice versa. I don't really remember, but one of these was for the mother and one of them was for the father. And what you have experienced throughout your life in terms of these caretakers and these people who have either raised you properly, or they might have installed unconscious trauma, or because everyone is just human and we're learning how to be human, and many people have done things that other people have not, so they have different insights and experiences that allows them to better be able to be emotionally balanced or just aligned with themselves. I could go on forever, I think, because there are so many things that is not really necessary to explain, because once you've had the experience, then you know what it was. I can say what my experience was just based on what I feel now, which I feel very light. I feel very, I feel better, which is weird because I have had this intense pain in my back and in my shoulders and like the upper back party of my body. And I had a lot of theories because I've stopped taking pills that I was put on 20 years ago. I was told to go on these, to just have these pills forever. It was permanent treatment. And I don't know, I really didn't like that because these pills also corrode your blood vessels from the inside out. And, you know, and I've had a lot of different successes over my years of trying different things with my body and going against the whole mainstream narrative and being a little bit critical as to what I'm doing with my body, taking into my body, and what I'm focusing on, and what I'm thinking about, and what I'm doing in my life, and all the things. I've been trying to take things in the way that I felt aligned with, and yeah, I thought that the pain in my back might have been because of that, because of me stopping the pills, but now I've been off them for a month and a half, something like that. And I feel different, very different. I feel more sensitive. I don't know how to explain that. I'm going to just keep on seeing what I feel as I go, but when I felt the changes afterwards, I felt like as I got out from the chair, I was dizzy. I had to regain my balance, but I felt alleviated. I felt like I was less constricted, I guess. And my pain in my back was not as clear anymore. Like it didn't feel as before. Now, how that is possible, because I didn't have a massage, I didn't have anything that was directly for the muscles or the back. Just find that interesting, you know. And now, in the days coming or after, he said also on a friend of mine, which he did this in the field. He picked up a pen, a freaking normal pen, and he pointed him, or he stabbed him in the ear. So he was putting pressure on the same spots, and then he was doing the same thing with the muscles. And I saw that he felt that, and he was standing. So I know that if he was laying down and he had the pin precision of a needle, it'd be probably the same thing. And he also felt the same, the the looseness, the sensation of being more fluid, and but also a little bit dizzy, just from a pen. I think that this is really interesting, and I'm gonna just keep on seeing where it goes in terms of how I feel, how I think, where I'm at, physically, spiritually, or just emotionally, and see what happens. Because also he said that often it takes like two, maybe three treatments before you really get a good result that is going to stick with you. And that makes sense to me as well, because if you go through a psychedelic trip or trauma therapy or whatever, the first layers, from what I've seen so far, tends to be the hardest ones. So you taking away the denseness, like it's way more heavy, it's way more encrusted, it's way more dense in the beginning when you haven't done much of this than it is when you have chipped away a little bit on the layers, and then you're able to be more aware, I guess, of what it feels like underneath those layers, and then it's just more and more flow until you are able to stay aligned without having external treatments done, external or external medicine that activates the internal. I'm not sure how I'm going to explain what a plant medicine therapy session could be like compared to acupuncture or compared to just the conversation. I also know that the conversations alone, this is also based on, this particular person in specifically, because we had long talks from when I met him to when I left, and there's a lot of things that can be said on those that many hours. And he said very like he spoke about what he experienced during the conversations, which is kind of my healing. He's providing extremely accurate, beautiful, ancient treatments that has been used by humans forever, and he has a lot of knowledge, a lot of knowledge. And for me, I don't know what it is that I'm doing, but I've had theories about activation energy and what happens if you are there, present, aligned, and you are able to, I don't know, ground the situation, ground the conversation, and then having people purge in terms of just being given a space so that they can safely get that out and get clarity, and also feel supported and being seen, understood, heard. All these things are so important that it is ridiculous that there are no more alternatives or solutions out there today. It's just blowing my mind, but that's not the point. I think that this is a very interesting healing modality, and I think that everyone who has not tried it and they are stuck in some mindset or looking for a way or just trying to find solutions to how they feel, be that emotionally bottled up or rigidity. Um, my friend said also, just perfectly explained, how it feels like you have a string that is just very tight. It's not possible to kind of navigate it or to pluck it. I feel like it's like a string on the guitar that is out of tune. It has been taut. It's too tight, you know. And once you start to release the pressure on that, it starts to vibrate and give that harmony and that frequency that it is supposed to, and that we have kind of the same thing. This is what we're talking about. The whole. I'm not sure I'm gonna make mention the name at all because people seem to take this differently, and depending on how much their need is for external validation or external worship, there's a lot that can go into that. But I'm gonna just talk about the function behind the thing, where we say that it's like being like the vibration of the string is pulling you towards where you have to go in alignment with yourself, and it just very much correlates and resonates with how I see the same thing. If we are just a bunch of strings, and if we have to, like, say we have 10 strings then that we are composed of, and we are vibrating, we're resonating on 5 of them, we're going to feel the absence of the other 5 that has not been plucked, that is not resonating, or that is too tight, or that is too loose, or whatever. And then go in there and start to find the frequency and start to tune them. So this is very interesting in terms of many, many, many things. Because so far, we have had so many different facilitators and healers coming in and sharing their knowledge and experiences. We've seen extreme results from every single one. And they all have different states of awarenesses, different experiences, different philosophies sometimes. And it's just a joy to be a part of that, to see where it can go from there. Like, what happens if we combine forces? Well, we're going to find out, because we have. We have many people who have now combined the forces, so we can put together a massive, almost like a field, an industry exposition, you know? Just picture going into a place where you have these different booths, right? Acupuncture, spirituality, shamanism, yoga, kundalini yoga, different yoga, plant medicine, different types of plant medicine, and just sharing the availability of what's out there. So the people see that, all right, we don't have to go to aisle 3.5 and bring our receipt or our prescription and just get what the doctor ordered us to take. We can actually think critically and see if there are other things out there that can help. How amazing would that be, you know? I think that we are on the verge of something very big. Huge, even. And I've talked to every single person that I've talked to who see things from this angle agrees. Every single one. And let me tell you something. There are depths and layers to this that you cannot fathom. I'm saying that because I've been very active in this. I've been way more active in this whole lifestyle than most people I know. And because of the people I know, I also know that it would be completely impossible for them to know about the things that exist today because they have no idea of where to start looking. Make sense? So now we have a map, and there are many, 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 many cool things to explore on that map. And there are very, very, very many things that you can do while you're exploring that map. And that's why we are so psyched. Speaking of, you see the energy that I have right now? What I realized 2 days ago is that when you're at that level of frequency, you are able to do things without sleep. And that kind of blew me away because when I went to sleep, when I had these treatments, I was given Amanita muscaria, the fly agaric, which is the red mushroom with the white dots. You know, the first one we learn is toxic and deadly when we are growing up. And I ate that, and then I slept like a baby. But I realized that I had been up for 2 days before I ate that. And throughout those 2 days, I had been on a travel. I had been talking to different people. I had been creating videos. I had been going around all over the place, just doing things that was necessary but also that was giving me new insights, reaching new experiences, new levels of frequency, and I just was focused. Everything flowed in a way that I cannot even start to explain if people don't know what I'm talking about. So I guess the whole moral of this entire video of 20 minutes is that you need the experience yourself. That's it. If you want to experience this with practitioners and experienced travelers, then reach out and we can set up something. And I can promise you one thing, you're going to just, if you have no experience with this, you're going to love it, because it's also very customized based on where you are at, where you have been, and where you are going. First, you have to ask a question. First, you have to be willing to do something. First, you have to actually want to find something. It is the desire to find it that is making everything possible. Because I can say anything right now. And for the people who have decided that this is how it is, then good on you. Hope it works out for you. Take care of a freaking family. Have a fantastic, epic day. If you want to have conversations that goes way beneath the normalcy of today's world, then you just go into the Discord server and we can make sure that you are, I guess, the word disappeared. Subjected to such conversations? Not sure. But I would very much highly recommend you to subscribe to the channel. That helps us more than you know. Share this with people who might have a need for it, and ask questions. Be a little critical, because too many people are not. Until next one.